Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys had a great day today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content. All these videos, they get posted to this Reddit. Over here, I'll have it linked down below where I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions leading up to lock about the slate. So I'll have that link down below, and then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on X. I will also have that link down below. And yeah, if you're looking for more in-depth content, sportsbook plays, etc., 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 I will have my Discord linked down below. All right, let's go over my lineups from yesterday. Had a great day yesterday. Both my lineups cashed. I was unfortunately up at the top. I believe I was in third place right here. No, yeah, I was in third. My buddy LaVertical was in first, second, and then I was in third until like the last 5 minutes of the last game. The last game just nuked. You can see everyone had someone in that game. Anthony Edwards, Nas Reed. Okay, maybe I was in fourth, but you can see everyone had a Minnesota piece that passed me at the end. So I was either in third or fourth until like the last 5 minutes of the game. Yeah, unlucky. That would have been a couple thousand or so. But you can see my core for this slate was Evan Mobley, core play, Donovan Mitchell, core play, Manuel Quickly, core play, Orlando Robinson, core play, Ty Jerome, core play. I got off Emmanuel Quickly as a core play, but he was initially a core play. Everyone knew I loved him. Yeah, when will the Quickly faders learn? I don't know if they will learn their lesson, but I like Quickly once again for tomorrow. And then same thing. Played Cade. He was my favorite spend up. Played Cole Anthony in this lineup, even though I hated him. He just fit. But I told everyone in Discord I'd like to be underweight to him, so that worked out for a lot of people. We had some really good nights yesterday, so yeah, hoping to have a good night tonight. As always, I will recap my video or my lineups from tonight in tomorrow's video, and we got a 7-game slate, so let's just get right into it. Boston at Toronto. Drew Holiday out. Al Horford is questionable. So if Al Horford's out, you're mainly going to get bumps to like Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser would be a good value. I would like him. Good matchup going up against Toronto. Peyton Pritchard, of course, would be playable, right? They like to lean on Hauser and Pritchard when they're going up against worse teams, so you could see both of them get extended if Al Horford's out. Even with just Drew Holiday out, like I think they're playable regardless. More so Pritchard. Then Al Horford plays, he should move into the starting lineup. He'd be a pretty solid value at 4-2. And then I don't mind like blowout stuff. So if you're playing for like a blowout, maybe you play like zero Boston outside of like Pritchard. Hope he nukes it. I think he's a pretty good value regardless with Drew Holiday out there. And like Al Horford, if he plays, he should move into the starting lineup. He'll be a good value. If he's out, Sam Hauser would be a solid value. And then great matchup. 9.7K for Jason Tatum. I think that looks fantastic. Really liking Jason Tatum up at the top. I think Brown's perfectly fine. Great matchup here for Porzingis. I like him quite a bit. So I think Boston looks pretty damn good tomorrow. Even Derek White's in play. And then we kind of went over the values there if Al Horford's out or in. All right, moving on to Toronto. Jakob Poeltl, the big one here. Brandon Ingram, of course, is done for the year, I believe, right? For at least a month, okay. But Jakob Poeltl's the big one. If Jakob's out, Orlando Robinson's going to be a good value once again for tomorrow. A little bit disappointed he only played 20 minutes. I don't know if it was a blowout and they got pulled early. I want to say it was. I know he wasn't on pace for big minutes regardless. But I want to say they might have gotten pulled a little bit early, like a minute left. He didn't play the fourth. This matchup going up against Boston could be dicey as well. Really bad matchup. I don't think he'd be a must by any means, but he would be a good value once again. Chris Boucher, they extended last game. He's always in play when Jakob Poeltl's out, just in large field GPPs, just because he does have that type of ceiling. RJ Barrett at 7-2 in a really bad matchup, I think is fine. Same with Scotty Barnes. Think, quickly he's playable at 6'9". Not as good of a play as he once was at that price point. But I honestly might prefer Quickly to RJ Barrett. Better match for Quickly as well. So I do like Quickly in GPPs once again. If Jakob Poeltl plays, it just takes like the value out of play for me. Not too excited about Grady Dick. I think we'll just have so much better value opening up a little bit later. All right, let's move on to Cleveland. Two good defensive teams, two teams that play fairly slow, but I think if Garland's out once again, you're going to need some Cleveland. First off, that being Ty Jerome. Even if he starts or comes off the bench, I'd have still a ton of interest in. Not as good of a play as he was since the price point's up, But yeah, he'd be another great value. Just really bad matchup here. Even these other values like Hunter, Struce would be firmly solid values. Bad matchup for everyone else here, but like Evan Mobley's gonna have to do a ton more. He'd be a solid spend up. Same with Donovan Mitchell. Jared Allen doesn't really change too much for me. Then yeah, I like the values there. Okoro started for Darius Garland, only played 19 minutes. That's a little bit thin for my liking. Sam Merrill didn't play as much as I thought he was going to, so maybe a little bit too thin there. And then if Garland's in, I'm fine not playing too much from Cleveland. I think, yeah, I probably wouldn't want really anything from Cleveland if Darius Garland plays, to be honest. Moving on to Orlando. So I've been pretty high on both the Orlando spend ups, but in this matchup going up against Cleveland, I think we can pick some better spots. I think they're both playable, of course. I do prefer Paolo to Franz given the price points. I prefer Franz straight up. More contrarian plays to me. We all know nobody's going to play Cole Anthony tomorrow, and we all know he's going to nuke it, but this is the range of outcomes. They can always go to Anthony Black. They can always play him 20 minutes. Some games they will extend him, makes him an interesting GPP option just because no one's going to play him tomorrow because he bust as Giga Chalk, right? If he had a really good game this game up against Washington and played 30 minutes, he would be chalk once again tomorrow. So I will mention Cole as a low-owned bounce-back candidate. Wanakar Jr. only played 20 minutes last game. I think they're probably going to split the full 48 here. Wanakar Jr. and Goga Patate. They kind of need size out there going up against Cleveland. It's just which one's going to get more minutes. I think both are firmly in play. I just prefer Wanakar Jr. because normally when he does start, they do typically want to give him the minutes. Isaac's playable. Really not much here on Orlando. Let's move on to Phoenix. This is a game I think we can definitely get into. Really good matchups for both sides. Royce O'Neal's been starting. I think he's a decent value. Stat sheet stuffer can do a little bit of everything. I'm not going to play Tyus. Bowles cooked. Nick Richards, really matchup dependent. Some games they'll play him 28 minutes. Some games they'll play him 20. I think this is a game where they could limit his minutes, so I'd be a little bit careful there with Nick Richards. Grayson Allen's priced right. I'd rather just play Royce O'Neal, but I'm pretty high on all three of the main guys here. Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. Memphis has in the past kind of gone to like trapping the opponent's best player. You just can't do that going up against you can't. So they should have to play one-on-one here. I think Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal are all really good plays. Um, Sorry about that. What was I saying? I forget what I was saying. I think Beal's my favorite point per dollar at 6.4K. Um, and then probably Kevin Durant, but I think they're all really solid. Sorry about that. Someone came in my room. Going on to Memphis, and then yeah, Phoenix, good matchup for anyone. Pretty much, they'll just let you score on them. So yeah, I'm pretty high on this team in GPPs. I really like John Morant. I really like Jaren Jackson Jr. at that price point. I think Desmond Bane's perfectly fine. I think my favorite's Jaren Jackson Jr. between the three. Santi Aldama's been incredible off of the bench. If you want to continue to ride the hot hand, I don't mind it. More so priced right though, but perfectly fine there. A little bit worried about Edie's minutes in this matchup. I think they could go to more like Brandon Clark, play smaller a little bit. So I do kind of like Brandon Clark there at 3.9K. Vince Williams, playable, should see teens minutes, fine value. I don't think I'm going to get to much else. Moving on to the Bucks, yeah, Giannis played 32 minutes, so maybe he's off his restriction tomorrow. If he's off it, then yeah, perfectly good spend up this kind of price point as well. Not a good matchup, but perfectly fine there. Dame I don't love. I'm not going to get to much else. It's mainly just Giannis up at the top. Houston's a mess. Fred VanVleet questionable. Tari Eason questionable. Dylan Brooks questionable. Steven Adams questionable. If they're all out here, they're going to be pretty thin. Cam Whitmore would get a bump at 4-1. I would like him for value. Aaron Holiday would be playable. Jabari Smith killed everyone last game. Not the best matchup here. Would be a fine bounce back candidate. Be decent. I kind of like both Amin Thompson and Jalen Green. Good spot for both of them. So if everyone's out here, they're just going to have to play a ton, right? So would like those two guys. Sengun's fine. Then if everyone's in, I'll just probably pass on this team, to be honest. Outside of like some interest in like Amin, Jalen, the top two guys there. All right, rematch here. Spurs, Charles Bassey out, so Bismack Biyombo just played 30 minutes last game. I don't understand that at all. No Charles Bassey in this game. Sandra went from being a DMP to playing the most to playing the least. It just doesn't make any sense what they're doing here with the Spurs. I really don't understand it. Like, if I knew Bismack played 30 minutes tomorrow, I'd really like him. I just don't know if he will. But with Charles Bassett being out, it certainly does help his case. You could make the argument like Sandro is perfectly fine. So like I think the bigs are firmly in play here. What else do we have here? I think Fox is incredible. I really like him once again. Love him as a bounce back candidate. Just doing everything for this team. Great matchup. Don't care that he busted here and shot 3 of 16. Love him. I'm not going to get to much else. Like Castle, what are we doing? Why is he still 6.2K? I don't understand it. Vassell, I like his ceiling just because no one's going to play him. It's a great matchup. Like if you told me Vassell was 6.1K with no Wemby in a great matchup and is going to be unowned tomorrow, which I think he would be, like a week ago, I'd probably laugh at your face. But that's what the situation we're in right now with the minutes and the production. But I think that's really good in large field GPPs. Chris Paul is, of course, playable. I'm not going to mess with, like, Keldon Johnson, even though he's been nuking Harrison Barnes. I think Champagny had a good game last game. Not going to chase that. All right, moving on to the Pels. Yeah, I mean, great spot here. With no Wemby, their defense is just horrible. So, yeah, sign me up for Zion. Love Zion. I think Trey's good. CJ's firmly in play. Jose should play 30 minutes off the bench. Whole close, good point per minute guy. Almost had a triple-double last game. He's a solid value, mid-range play. I really like Kelly Olynyk for value. He'll probably be really popular tomorrow, but I think it's for good reason. I think there's a decent amount to like here on the Pels. Moving on to Charlotte. Really bad matchup here. It's a back-to-back. We'll see if any of these guys sit. We'll see if Mark plays. If he's out, then you're going to get Nurk, Musa. I think both will be good point per dollar values. If he's in, Mark should be able to dominate this Golden State front court, so would like him if no limit. Really bad matchup for like the top two guys, but always have interest in like LaMelo. I think Miles is more so priced right. I don't think I'm going to mess with the value. All right, Charlotte been a lot better defensively this year, but yeah, I think you have to have some interest in sub AK Butler. They're staggering him and stuff. His role right now is really good. Nobody's playing him, so I'm really high on Butler and GPPs. Pods is fine. Moody, I think, is a good value. Some interest in Buddy Hield, and then Kevon Looney is fair value. All right, last game of the night, guys. Dallas at Lakers. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this game. I don't watch much of the games because I don't have too much time, but I am watching this game. Yeah, I love it. I love this game. I think a lot of people are gonna love it. I really like Kyrie Irving. I think Peter's a really good play. Clay, of course, you can always go to. Max Christie, I think is solid. I'm not gonna mess with like Kessler Edwards. I think like Exum's playable, I suppose. Then yeah, main standouts are like Kyrie, PJ, and then of course I love Luka Doncic tomorrow. It's not even a revenge game narrative. It's just like he should be full go here. Looks like he's back. Just gonna depend on ownership for me. Like if ownership's inflated just because he's going back to Dallas or playing Dallas, then you can make the argument to fade. Like he shouldn't bump up in ownership just because of a revenge game, right? So that's a decision I'll make tomorrow. I still think he's a great play. LeBron would be your pivot in GPPs. I don't mind some Jackson Hayes. Okay, I mean, okay is a little bit of a stretch producer-wise, but he's 4.4K. Should play mid-20s minutes. Gabe Vincent, viable large field dart. Goodwin had a good game. I want to say I thought he had a good game. Maybe it was just this game. I'm not going to go there. All right, that's going to do it for the slate. Hopefully you guys had a great night. I will talk to y'all in the next video.